Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? I love checking out the latest tech, especially when you guys send me interesting listings.
So what caught your eye this time?
Oh, this one's a doozy. You sent me an Amazon listing for the Apple Watch Series 10, and let me tell you, there are some things about this particular listing that have me intrigued.
Like what? Spill the beans.
Okay,
Yeah.
first of all, that price drop, whoa.
Hmm.
It's listed at $359.
That is a pretty significant drop from the usual price.
15% off.
Down from $429. And we're talking the 46mm GPS model.
Okay, so the larger size.
Yep. With that sleek jet black aluminum case and black sport band. So stylish.
It does sound pretty tempting. But before we get too carried away, have you considered checking other retailers?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Sometimes you can find even better deals, or maybe even look into a pre-owned Series 9.
I hadn't thought about pre-owned. That's a smart move.
Okay, back to this Amazon listing, though. Another thing that really jumped out at me were the AppleCare Plus options.
No, yeah, Amazon's doing some interesting things with AppleCare Plus these days.
They are. They're offering two choices. A 2-year plan for $79 or a monthly plan at $399 to $1 a month.
Decisions. What are your thoughts on AppleCare Plus?
Honestly, I'm usually pretty hesitant about extended warranties. But with something like an Apple Watch,
Yeah, it's an investment.
it is. And I'm thinking about all those potential mishaps, cracked screen, battery issues,
Accidents happen. It's a good point.
And with AppleCare Plus Gassy, you get unlimited repairs for just $69 each time. You're covered for both hardware and battery.
That peace of mind is definitely worth something.
Plus, you get access to those Apple Store repairs or even the express replacement service, which is super convenient.
Super convenient. I've used that service before. It's a lifesaver.
What I find really interesting is how Amazon handles the whole AppleCare Plus thing.
Oh, yeah. How so?
It activates automatically on delivery. You get digital proof of coverage emailed to you.
No more waiting for that physical card to arrive.
Exactly. Plus, the coverage is attached to the device itself. So if you decide to sell it later, the new owner benefits too.
That is pretty cool. Makes the whole process much smoother.
Right. Okay, so moving on. This watch has a pretty impressive rating on Amazon, 4.6 stars out of 5.
Wow. That's pretty high.
Based on over 500 ratings. It even has that Amazon's Choice badge. And get this, over 9,000 units were sold last month alone.
Clearly, people are loving this thing. But what are they saying in the reviews? Let's dig into that a little bit.
Okay, so from what I've gathered, people are really praising the functionality and that sleek design. We talked about that.
Makes sense. The design of Apple products is always a big selling point.
It is. And the larger screen size seems to be a hit too. Many reviewers are saying it's super easy to use and they love all those health tracking features.
So far, so good. What about battery life? That's always a big question with smartwatches.
Yeah, battery life seems to be a bit of a mixed bag. Some reviewers are happy while others say they're charging it more than they'd like. That's always the trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah.
More features, brighter screen, they all take a toll on battery life. Definitely something to keep in mind. One reviewer, ShipFast Inc., raved about the design and the seamless iPhone integration called the health features game-changing.
Sounds like a happy customer.
They were. Then there's Andrew T., who was overall positive, but still decided to invest in a screen protector.
For that extra peace of mind.
Exactly. And, you can't please everyone. There were a few negative reviews mentioning battery life and some folks who felt like the upgrades weren't substantial enough.
That's always going to be the case with any new tech release.
Right.
Some people are early adopters while others prefer to wait for a more significant upgrade.
True. But I think it's safe to say that the positive reviews far outweigh the negative ones. So are you ready to get into the nitty-gritty? Time to break down those technical specs.
Let's do it. Hit me with all the details.
Okay, so first up, we've got size and weight. The listing breaks it down for both the aluminum and titanium cases, which is helpful.
Good to know. And what about the display? Always a crucial element for a smartwatch.
It's an always-on Retina LTPO OLED display. Basically, you get a bright, crisp picture, even in direct sunlight. And you can always see the time and information without having to raise your wrist.
That always-on display is super convenient, but does it drain the battery faster?
That's a good question. Apple claims this watch can last up to 18 hours on a single charge.
Not bad. But is that with the always-on display enabled?
Good question. Something to look into. But there is a low power mode that can potentially stretch it to 36 hours.
No, that's impressive.
And don't forget about the fast charging. A quick boost can get you back up and running if you're in a pinch.
Fast charging is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the brains of the operation? What kind of processor does this thing have?
Powering all of this is the S10 SIP IP. It's a 64-bit dual-core processor. and you get a whopping 64 GB of storage.
64 GB, that's more than enough space for apps, music, and all that health data.
Right. No need to worry about running out of space.
Hmm.
Durability-wise, it boasts 50-meter water resistance, meaning you can take it for a swim.
Perfect for those pool workouts.
Exactly. It's also dust-resistant. And the titanium version has even tougher front glass compared to the aluminum model.
For those who are extra rough on their gadgets.
Yep. Okay, connectivity-wise, this Apple Watch has got you covered.
Let's hear it.
GPS, of course, so you can track those runs and walks without your phone. It also supports LTE and UMTS for cellular connectivity, so you can make calls and stay connected even when your iPhone is out of reach.
That cellular connectivity is a game changer for some people, but it does usually come with an extra cost for that data plan.
True, true. It's worth considering those ongoing costs. It also has Wi-Fi 4 for connecting to wireless networks, Bluetooth 5.3 for pairing your headphones or other devices, and even ultra-wideband support.
Ultra-wideband, what's that all about?
It's all about precise location tracking. I've heard it's used for some really cool things like finding lost items, unlocking your car, and even controlling smart home devices with pinpoint accuracy.
Sounds pretty futuristic.
It is. Okay, now let's move on to those health and safety features, because this watch is jam-packed.
I'm ready. Tell me everything.
There's the ECG app for monitoring your heart rhythm cycle, tracking for keeping tabs on your menstrual cycle, and heart rate monitoring for all you fitness fanatics out there.
It's incredible how much health information these smartwatches can track now.
It really is.
Yeah.
And there's more. Sleep tracking fall detection to alert your emergency contacts if you take a tumble crash detection to call for help in case of a serious accident, and emergency SOS to connect with emergency services quickly.
Wow. That's a lot of safety features packed into one tiny device.
It's like having a personal guardian angel on your wrist.
Very true. So, what stands out to you the most about this listing? What's piqued your curiosity?
Honestly, the thing that's really got me thinking is the fact that I'm even considering buying this through Amazon instead of directly from Apple.
Yeah, that's interesting. What's driving that decision? Is it purely the price?
I think it's a combination of the price and the convenience. You know, I'm already a Prime member, so those perks like free delivery and that extended holiday return window are super tempting.
I get it. The convenience factor is definitely appealing. But have you considered what you might be missing out on by not going through Apple directly?
Like what?
Things like the warranty and customer support. Apple's known for its excellent customer service.
Okay, you've got me thinking now. Maybe it's worth doing a little comparison shopping, just to be sure I'm not making a hasty decision.
It never hurts to weigh your options and gather all the information before making a big purchase.
True that. Okay, so we've covered the initial highlights, some key points about this Apple Watch Series 10 listing, but we've only just scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore.
Exactly. We still need to dive deeper into those technical specs, compare this Apple Watch to the competition, and explore some of those broader considerations that come with any big tech purchase. So buckle up. We're just getting started.
I'm ready for round 2. Let's do it. You know, before we get too lost in the weeds of megapixels and gigahertz, I think it's important to take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
I like that. What do you mean?
It's not just about the specs of this Apple Watch, but about how it fits into your life, your tech setup, and yes, even your budget.
So true. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a new gadget. But taking a moment to consider those bigger questions is crucial.
It is. So you mentioned you're a Prime member, which suggests a certain level of Amazon loyalty.
Oh yeah, I love my Prime perks.
But the Apple Watch is, well, it's deeply rooted in the Apple world.
That's an interesting point. I definitely lean towards Apple when it comes to devices.
Right, iPhone, MacBook, AirPods, the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. But then there's Amazon, my go-to for online shopping, streaming, all those Prime benefits.
See, there's where the potential for a little friction comes in.
Hmm.
The Apple Watch will technically work with any Bluetooth device,
Right.
but you'll get the smoothest experience when it's paired with an iPhone.
Because of all those Apple-specific features.
Exactly. Think iMessage, Apple Pay. Those health and safety features, they're all optimized for the Apple world.
That makes sense. I've definitely had those moments where things don't quite sync up perfectly when I'm mixing tech ecosystems.
It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Exactly.
So given your Apple-centric setup, have you considered maybe buying directly from Apple or an authorized reseller?
That's a good point. I might miss out on that Amazon discount.
You might. But that peace of mind and seamless integration could be worth the extra cost.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list of things to compare. Now let's talk about lifestyle. How does the Apple Watch Series 10 fit into your daily routine? your hobbies, your overall approach to tech.
This is where it gets personal. Think about how you'd actually use this watch. Are you a fitness fanatic tracking every workout? Do you need it to keep you organized? Or are you more of a casual user who just wants the convenience of notifications?
I'd say I'm somewhere in between. I like to stay active, but I'm not training for a marathon. I do rely on my phone a lot for work and staying connected. So those wrist notifications would be super handy. And those health tracking features are definitely appealing, especially as I'm trying to be more mindful of my sleep and activity levels.
It sounds like the Apple Watch could potentially fit well into your life. That blend of fitness tracking communication features and health monitoring seems to align with what you're looking for.
I think so too.
Okay.
Time to talk money. $359 isn't exactly pocket change.
No, it's not. So how does this purchase fit into your budget?
That's a good question.
Okay.
I've been trying to be more mindful of my spending, so that's definitely a factor. And it's not just the upfront cost either.
Right. There's the potential for those AppleCare Plus fees. Maybe a new band or two down the line.
It all adds up.
Which brings us back to considering those pre-owned or older models. You could snag a perfectly good Series 8 or 9 for significantly less.
True, it might not have all the latest bells and whistles,
Yeah.
but it could still meet my needs and be easier on the wallet.
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked about tech ecosystems, lifestyle, and budget. Anything else we need to factor in?
I think we've covered the big picture stuff,
Yeah.
so let's dive back into those technical specs.
Let's do it. We already touched on size, display, battery life, the processor, and durability, but there's a whole lot more to uncover in that Amazon listing.
Where should we start?
Let's talk connectivity. We know it has GPS, but what are the specifics?
Okay, spill the details.
Well, this watch supports multiple global positioning systems, ensuring you get a reliable signal no matter where you are.
Even in remote areas.
Even in remote areas. Perfect for those who travel a lot or like to venture off the beaten path. And for those who want to stay connected without their phone, there's LTE and UMTS for cellular connectivity.
Essentially turning your watch into a mini phone.
Exactly. You can make calls, send texts, and even stream music, all without your iPhone.
That sounds incredibly free.
It is. Though, as we discussed earlier, that cellular freedom comes with the added cost of a data plan.
Right. Trade-offs. It also has Wi-Fi 4 for connecting to wireless networks, Bluetooth 5.3 for pairing your headphones, and ultra-wideband.
Oh, yes. Ultra-wideband. That's some next-level tech.
Tell me more.
You can use it to find lost items with those Apple AirTags, unlock your car, and even control your smart home devices.
With pinpoint accuracy.
Precisely. Okay, let's move on to the heart of the operation. The hardware and controls what makes this Apple Watch tick.
Lay it on me.
It's all powered by the S10 CP, a tiny but mighty system in package that contains the processor, graphics, memory, and other components.
Basically the brain of a watch.
Exactly. Designed for speed, efficiency, and responsiveness.
Impressive. And for interacting with this mini marvel, you have the digital crown.
Ah, the digital crown.
Yeah.
So iconic.
It is. That rotating button on the side lets you navigate menus, zoom in and out, and even control audio playback.
All without blocking the screen.
Exactly. And then there's the side button for accessing recent apps, activating Siri, and even making emergency calls.
It's all about accessibility.
Speaking of accessibility, the Apple Watch also features Siri, Apple's voice assistant.
Right. You can control the watch with your voice, send messages, set reminders, get directions.
Siri can be a lifesaver. Okay, let's talk audio. What kind of sound experience can we expect from this Apple Watch?
Well, it has a built-in speaker, which is surprisingly powerful for its size. You can listen to music, take calls, hear Siri's responses, even get turn-by-turn directions.
All without headphones.
Yep. Though you can still pair it with Bluetooth headphones if you want a more private listening experience.
Of course. And there's a built-in microphone, too.
There is. For taking calls, talking to Siri, and recording voice memos.
Okay, time to geek out about sensors. This is where it gets really exciting for me. The Apple Watch is loaded with sensors that track all sorts of data about your body and your surroundings.
We've already discussed the electrical heart sensor for ECG, the optical heart sensor for heart rate monitoring, and the temperature sensor.
But there's more, right?
So much more. There's a compass for navigation, an always-on altimeter for tracking your elevation, a high-G accelerometer for measuring acceleration and impact, a high-dynamic range gyroscope, an ambient light sensor, a depth gauge for swimming, and even a water temperature sensor.
Wow. This watch really can track just about everything. What can you actually DO with all that data, though?
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
You can track your fitness progress, monitor your health, navigate unfamiliar territory, control your smart home devices, and even play augmented reality games.
It's mind-blowing how much technology can fit into such a small device.
It really is. Okay, before we go down the rabbit hole of sensor technology, let's shift gears and talk about the software and features. This is where the Apple Watch really shines.
Absolutely. The watchOS operating system is so intuitive and user-friendly.
It's designed to be glanceable, customizable, and packed with features that make your life easier.
So it's not just about tracking your steps or checking the time.
Nope. It's about having a powerful and personalized tool on your wrist that helps you stay connected, organized, and entertained.
Okay, give me some examples.
Well, you can choose from a variety of watch faces, each with its own style and complications.
Complications, what are those?
Basically, they're tiny widgets that display information from your favorite apps. You can customize the layout, the colors, and the specific information that's displayed.
So it's like having a mini dashboard on your wrist.
Exactly. And in terms of apps, the Apple Watch has a vast and ever-growing app store,
I can only imagine.
offering everything from fitness trackers and music players to productivity tools and games. You can even download apps that control your smart home devices, pay for things with Apple Pay, and track your sleep patterns.
Okay, so we've covered the hardware, the software, the connectivity, those amazing sensors, and all those incredible features.
We've pretty much dissected this Apple Watch from every angle.
I think so. But there's one thing from the listing that I wanted to circle back to. That free product support offered by Amazon.
Oh yeah, what's the deal with that? It's a bit unusual for Amazon to offer tech support for Apple products.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
Usually that's handled by Apple directly. So is this Amazon support in addition to Apple support or a replacement?
That's a good question. We need to clarify that. It's possible Amazon is providing basic support, like helping you set up the watch or troubleshoot connectivity issues.
And then referring you to Apple for anything more complex.
Exactly. But still, free support is always a bonus.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
Especially for those who might not be as tech savvy.
It could give you an extra layer of assistance and peace of mind. Okay, but we can't talk about the Apple Watch without addressing the competition.
Right. How does the Series 10 stack up against all those other smartwatches out there?
That's a crucial question. We've been so focused on this one listing, but widening the lens and comparing it to the alternatives can be really helpful.
So who are the main contenders in the smartwatch world these days? Besides Apple, of course.
Well, you've got Samsung with their Galaxy Watch line, Fitbit, Garmin, and even some up-and-comers like Amazfit and Fossil.
Wow, that's a lot of options.
It is, but the key is to focus on your priorities. What features matter most to you? Is it fitness tracking, communication, health monitoring, style, price, or a combination of all of the above?
For me, I'd say it's a balance of fitness tracking, communication features, and maybe some health monitoring. I'm not a hardcore athlete, but I like to stay active.
Yeah.
And I rely heavily on my phone for work and staying connected.
So based on that, the Apple Watch Series 10 seems like a strong contender. But let's see how it measures up against a couple of key competitors.
Okay, let's start with the Samsung Galaxy Watch 6. I've heard good things about its rotating bezel for navigation and its fitness tracking capabilities.
The Galaxy Watch 6 is definitely a worthy opponent. It runs on Google's Wear OS, which is known for its app selection and customization options, and it boasts a longer battery life than the Apple Watch.
So if battery life is a top priority, the Galaxy Watch might be the way to go.
Possibly, but remember, its integration with iPhones is more limited. You won't get that same seamless connectivity.
Okay, good to know. What about Fitbit?
Fitbit smartwatches like the Sense 2 and the Versa 4 are great for fitness enthusiasts and health-conscious individuals. They offer accurate tracking, personalized guidance, and advanced sleep analysis. Plus, they're typically more affordable.
So if budget is a major concern, Fitbit might be a better option.
It's worth considering. But keep in mind, their app selection is more limited, and their integration with iPhones isn't as seamless.
It seems like there are trade-offs with every option.
That's the nature of the game. No single perfect solution exists. It's about finding the best fit for your individual needs and preferences.
Okay, so where do we go from here? How can our listeners make sense of all these options and choose the right smartwatch for them?
I would say start by defining your priorities. What features are non-negotiable for you? Then do your research. Read reviews, watch comparison videos, and if possible, try on a few different watches in person.
Great advice. And don't rush the decision. This
Yeah.
is an investment. So take your time, gather information, and go with your gut.
Absolutely. And once you've chosen your smartwatch, Take some time to explore all its features and capabilities.
There's always something new to discover.
Exactly. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's shift gears and talk about the long game.
The long game.
Yes. What happens after you've unboxed your shiny new Apple Watch? How will you integrate it into your daily life?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the initial excitement of a new gadget and then forget about the long-term implications.
Exactly. So let's talk about some strategies for using your smartwatch mindfully and intentionally. First, think about notifications. Do you really need every alert buzzing on your wrist?
Probably not. It sounds overwhelming.
It can be, so be selective. Choose the notifications that truly matter to you and silence the rest.
I like that. It's about finding a balance between staying connected and maintaining a sense of peace.
Exactly. And another tip, be intentional about the apps you choose. Don't feel like you need to download every app that's available.
Right. It's about creating a digital experience that serves you.
Now let's talk about health tracking. It can be tempting to get obsessed with the numbers, but remember, data is just information. It's up to you to interpret that data and use it in a way that benefits your well-being.
So it's not just about collecting data, but about understanding what it means for you.
Exactly. And here's a big one. Be mindful of your screen time. It's easy to get sucked into that endless scroll of notifications, apps, and social media feeds.
Oh, yeah. The struggle is real.
It is. So set some boundaries for yourself. Maybe limit how much time you spend on certain apps, or designate specific times of day when you'll allow yourself to check your watch.
Those are some great tips. I think the key takeaway here is that technology should enhance our lives, not control them.
Couldn't agree more. Okay. We've explored the specs, the competition, the pros and cons of buying from Amazon versus Apple, and even some strategies for mindful tech use.
I think we've covered just about everything. Ready to move on to the final part of our deep dive.
Let's do it. I'm ready to help you make a decision.
Yep.
All right, so we've talked about a lot, but now comes the big question. Is this Apple Watch Series 10 the right choice for you?
The moment of truth.
Exactly. Let's recap. You're looking for a smartwatch with a good balance of fitness tracking, communication, and health monitoring.
Right. And I'm pretty invested in the Apple ecosystem.
So the Apple Watch Series 10 does seem like a natural fit.
It does. But we also talked about those other options, pre-owned models. Maybe even a different brand altogether.
We did, and those are definitely worth considering. But let's play a little game here, just to help you solidify your decision.
Okay, I like games.
What if battery life was your absolute top priority, no matter what? Which smartwatch would you choose?
That's tough. But if battery life was the deciding factor, I'd probably go with the Samsung Galaxy Watch 6.
Interesting choice. Why the Galaxy Watch?
Well, we talked about how it can last for days on a single charge.
That's true. But remember, the integration with iPhones is a bit limited.
Right. Okay, new scenario. What if budget was my biggest concern?
The budget question. Always a factor. What would you choose if price was the most important thing?
In that case, I'd probably go with a Fitbit. Maybe the Sense 2 or Versa 4. They seem to offer a lot of bang for your buck.
They do, but remember their app selection is more limited and the integration with iPhones isn't as seamless.
Okay, last scenario. What if I wanted the absolute best fitness tracking, no matter the price?
The fitness fanatic scenario. What would be your top pick?
I'd have to go with Garmin. They seem to be the gold standard for serious athletes.
They do have a strong reputation for accuracy and durability.
So I guess I'm realizing that there really is no perfect smartwatch. It's all about finding the one that best fits your needs and priorities.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. So with all that in mind, where do you stand on this Apple Watch Series 10 from Amazon?
Honestly, I'm still a little torn between buying from Amazon and going directly to Apple.
That's understandable. We talked about the pros and cons of each.
We did. Amazon has those tempting perks like free delivery and the extended return window.
Yeah.
But Apple offers that peace of mind when it comes to warranty and support.
It's a tough call. What are you leaning towards?
I think I need to do a little more research. Compare the prices and warranties offered by both Amazon and Apple. Maybe even visit an Apple store and try on the watch in person.
That's a great idea. There's nothing like seeing and feeling a product in person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I've been so focused on the online lifting that I forgot about the real-world experience.
Well, I'm glad we have this conversation. It's helped to clarify your options and highlight some things you might not have considered.
I feel much more informed now, thanks to your expert insights.
You're very welcome. And remember, the world of technology is constantly evolving.
So we have to stay curious, stay informed.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Exactly. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this deep dive.
I think so, too. It's been a pleasure exploring the world of smartwatches with you.
Likewise. And remember, everyone, technology should empower us, not overwhelm us.
Well said. Until next time, happy teching.
See you in the next deep dive.